Hey everyone, my name is Landon with the Pickleball Physio. The goal of this platform is to help bridge the gap between performance and rehab. So today's post is all about the elbow. Now, once again, everyone's situation is very different. So this is not meant to be individualized medical advice. And if you are going through your own situation, please speak with your provider. What is pickleball elbow? I've got the answer. Pickleball elbow is most commonly known as irritation of the common extensor tendon, where the muscles of the forearm connect on the lateral epicondyle of your humerus. The load versus capacity model can be used almost anywhere. In this case with pickleball elbow, if the load placed through the elbow exceeded the capacity of what that elbow could handle, we might develop some irritation. The most common type of load that we think of with pickleball, or tennis for that matter, is the repetitive movement of swinging in some sort of backhand motion, whether that's up at the net or if we are hitting some type of return. Now, that is not the only type of load that our body has to deal with. So in this case, I'm putting paddle away and discussing some of the other options. Poor sleep, lack of proper hydration, maybe a poor diet. We're not getting adequate nutrients. It could be just added stressors, whether that's at home or at work. All of these things can reduce the capacity or increase the load through all structures of the body that might lead to heightened sensitivity or more likelihood to feel some sort of irritation when it comes to things such as pickleball elbow. The reason this is important is number one, it helps demonstrate why this might come about in the first place. And number two, what can we do about it? Now, this just wouldn't be accurate if I didn't discuss the elephant in the room and quite possibly the most frequent way that we develop symptoms in elbow or any body part for that matter, and that is just workload management. How long are we playing? How many days of the week are we playing? How intense are the matches? How long is rest in between them? These things all contribute to the load placed through structures, in this case elbow, as well as how well we can recover prior to the next time on the court. Knowing this, when it comes to management, the first thing we have to discuss is adjusting some of those variables. So maybe we play 3 times a week instead of 5, potentially 45 minutes instead of 3 hours, or we just flat out give ourselves more time between matches for the body to recover. All right, now the fun part, and what can we do to have a positive impact on pickleball elbow to get us not just back on the court, but allow us to stay there? The first few things I'm going to go over is total body mobility. I highly recommend getting those areas ready, as well as trying to maximize the amount of movement we have in them, knowing that they have a positive relationship with the elbow. Other options include these quadruped reach throughs, where I reach as far as I can in one direction and then as far as I can back in another, as well as a rock back or a child's pose, where I get an overhead stretch while also getting some movement through my back. Now onto the shoulder. I can get shoulder warmed up through a variety of ways. In this case, with my elbows down on my side, just pulling this band apart, working out in front of my chest for a little higher difficulty. Some options that I like to do for general shoulder strength is a bent over row. In this case, I'm just driving my elbow up, engaging muscles of the backside of my shoulder. Some type of Arnold press, overhead press to get some general strength. If you've been following me, you also know that these carry variations are one of my favorites when it comes to developing grip strength, forearm strength, and overall shoulder resiliency. And now after running through your warm-up, thoracic mobility, shoulder resistance work, you can start to get into isolated forearm exercises. I've got wrist curls moving into the wrist extension that directly affects that muscle group that plugs in on the side of the humerus that I referred to earlier, and some type of rotational work that takes the arm through its full range of motion. And the key to them is that symptoms have to remain low. When you're running through any of these exercises, symptoms of the elbow should be well less than a 3 or a 4 out of 10. If they start to increase throughout, or if we're real stiff and sore the next day, we know that we did a little too much. Now, after we finished our routine, or maybe we're just leaving the court and we feel like that elbow was worked a little bit, you can include some gentle stretching in your routine. I'm going to straighten my elbow and bring those fingers down towards the ground for 20 to 30 seconds, a couple sets. I'm going to roll my hand over. I'm still going to point it down to the ground. And now I'm going to give a little overpressure on my hand that is going to stretch now the top side of my elbow. Oftentimes, if we just rest with something like pickleball elbow, that tendon that attaches from muscle to bone will eventually calm down. But when it comes time to do these repetitive movements that irritated it in the first place, if we didn't do anything to change the capacity, it's probably going to come right back. So in summary, that's exactly what we just talked about. Number one, workload management, or adjusting how long we're on the court, how many times we're playing per week, and how intensity the matches are. Number two, lifestyle factors such as sleep, hydration, nutrition, stress management. And number three, mobility of the thoracic spine and the shoulder, strengthening exercises such as the rows that we went over and the pressing overhead, and isolated elbow work when it comes to stuff like wrist extensions, wrist flexion, stretching after activity or after these routines. All of these things can have an impact. Do we need to be perfect in any of them? Absolutely not. Life's not perfect. But as you can see, there's many different ways to have a positive change when it comes to the symptoms that we've developed on the elbow. Rest is not always the answer, folks. Thank you all for following along. And if you found value in this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, leave a comment. I would be happy to hear what you think. And if you're interested in other videos that discuss different parts of the body and how it might improve our game on the court or keep us on the court longer, don't hesitate to hit subscribe, as I'm looking forward to putting more videos out in the future. Otherwise, thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it.